Welcome to the Crosscheck, the squawk sheet that uncovers the stories, challenges, and careers shaping business aviation today. I'm your host, Rob Hoffman.
And I'm Ian Lowe.
Today's guest is Joseph Tar Schmidt, an A321 first officer for a major U.S. airline. But beyond the flight deck, Joseph has a bigger mission to help shape the future of aviation through mentorship and scholarship. As president of both the Professional Pilots of Tomorrow and the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund, Joseph is working hard to ensure that aspiring aviators get the support they need. Whether you're a student pilot, industry vet, or an outsider considering an aviation career, this episode's for you. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So, Joseph, normally Ian does all the recruiting for the show here. He is Mr. Connected in Business Aviation. But I kind of met you at a really unusual place, and that would be in left field of a New York Mets baseball game. I'm sitting there, just minding my own business, me and my son waiting to hope to catch a fly ball. And I hear the word pilot. I hear something going on behind me. Someone's talking, and this is ninth inning. It's a blowout. The place is mostly cleared out. And I start hearing aviation stuff. And so I turn around and I'm like, hey, man, are you pilot? And so it begins. Joseph, that's probably one of the more unusual introductions I've made in aviation, but I'm so happy to have met you. Can you introduce yourself and walk us through the moment you wanted to start to fly and the key steps that brought you into the airline cockpit today?
Absolutely, Rob. Well, yeah, like we saw at the game there. I mean, in certain times and moments, you'll have these organic relationships form out of nowhere, and that's mostly been my experience through the aviation industry as a whole. My story. I grew up on Long Island, New York, out in Long Beach, and from the moment I remember opening my eyes, I was always looking up at airplanes flying over one way or another into Kennedy,
By
into
the way,
LaGuardia,
and
et
Long
cetera.
Beach is right next to JFK, so I'm sure you had a front row seat to the heavies
That's
coming in.
right. That's right. That's right. Exactly. In fact, I went to school around the corner from where I live, and I have very vivid memories of yelling at the jets to lower the gear. Right over my school as a preschooler, and magically, I mean, almost every time it happened, just because we
Figure.
were right there near the outer marker. So but yeah, I mean, I'm a first generation pilot myself. It's something that I was always interested in and not something that I always thought I was going to do. There was a lot of things in my life going on when I was younger, including pursuing a professional music career, playing the violin. And it was all really thanks to my mathematics teacher in high school who got together with a few of my friends and bought me a discovery flight, which really changed my life forever. And his name is Ross Lipsky, a lifelong friend of mine working at Valley Stream South High School. So at that point, I decided, wait a minute, I think I need to take a second look at this potential career, and I started looking at what my options were. I was pursuing all the big music schools in New York, whether it was Juilliard or Manhattan School of Music, and I put all that on hold and said, let me find a program where I could study both of the things that I want to learn, and then make a decision later. And that eventually led me to Jacksonville University in Florida. They had a music major program and an aviation major program, and so I decided to go all in on both, and I was hooked from that moment. So it's been a great ride, and I can honestly say that attending that Mets game was a great happenstance for me. But it's believe it or not the first time that I've met folks in the industry that happen to share similar passions. So that's what I think I loved about it the most.
That
That's awesome.
it really is super cool. I think there's just something about just you find someone just looking up at the sky, and chances are they're a pilot. Yeah, what are we looking at? Okay, fine. You look at that plane coming in for a landing. Yeah, all right. I know we've got something in common already, and it's always fun to run into kindred spirits. Obviously, we're all ab geeks over here. We just love everything about flying. So, all right. So you have one of these stories. It's really a fun, interesting story. You eventually went to school. Where did you get your commercial? How did you take it to the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, I eventually went down to Jacksonville, Florida, and did all of my training through from private all the way through CFII with Jacksonville University in partnership at the time with Harrison Flight Academy. They had a satellite location over at CRG, Craig Airport, which I think is now Jacksonville Executive at Craig. And that company got sold off to L3. They have a big flight training facility down in Sanford, Florida. So it was a great program. It still is a great program. I had incredible instructors along the way that really prepared me for success in the industry.
Okay, so you've had your mentors. You had it seems like you were smooth sailing. One step led to the next, and eventually you're a first officer. On an A321, which is amazing. But talk to us about the professional pilots of tomorrow. How did that come about? And obviously, you place a lot of importance on mentorship. So I assume this is about you giving back. Talk to us about everything about professional pilots of tomorrow, your place there, and what your mission is.
Absolutely, Rob. So, Professional Pilots of Tomorrow is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit pilot mentoring organization. It was founded in 2016 by our three founders, Mark Cervantes, John Hackworth, and Veselin Slavikov, who were all colleagues over at the now defunct regional airline ExpressJet. They were friends and colleagues at the time and decided they wanted to create an organization with the sole mission of just pilots helping pilots. And so I came across that organization in late 2016 when I was flying for a charter and scheduled 135 operator based up here in the Northeast called Tradewind Aviation. I was flying a Pilatus PC-12 at the time, and I was really interested in learning about the next steps to join my first 121 carrier. A friend of mine told me about the organization, and I said, well, it's free, so I have nothing to lose. Let me check it out. And that's the price was right, right? So, so at that point, I joined, and I was paired up with a mentor, Nathan Racine, who did a fantastic job of just explaining the industry from a big perspective, a large perspective, and giving me the tools that I needed to eventually choose the right company that fit the goals and things that I was looking for. So one of the things I appreciated about it the most is that obviously when you're getting your ratings and you're starting to build flight time, you start to look attractive to various airline recruiters or even business aviation recruiters. And what always ends up happening is they tell you exactly what you want to hear, and then you start to figure out that there's a little bit more to the story that you didn't know that you didn't know. His role was kind of explaining to me just everything that you need to know before you start to commit, because as everyone knows in this industry, especially at the airline level, seniority is everything, and you very rarely want to leave the position you're in, especially to make a lateral move and something like that. So I joined as a mentee in 2016. Once I got hired at my first 121 airline at Republic Airways, I immediately said, "Hey, now that I've got some qualifications, I want to give back." So I joined as a mentor at that point, and then got really involved with the leadership team there. Approaching our ninth year of operation, I just became the president of the organization in April. Our main focus is just providing back to the community to give people the tools that they need to make the right decisions for their careers. And over the years, we've expanded into various scholarship programs, partnership agreements with other industry professionals and organizations. And I'm just really excited for the road ahead.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot going on there within this organization. I have never heard of it, and I've been around the block with all sorts of different aviation centric nonprofits and organizations. So happy to help kind of throw this into my cycle a little bit. I'll pick your brain more about it offline, but I'm curious now for the listeners and people that are watching this at home or in the car or whatever. But how does Professional Pilots of Tomorrow operate? Matching mentors with early career pilots? Is it inspiring people from high school on up? Give us a little background on that.
Sure, absolutely. So, just from a broader perspective, we just hit 2,500 members nationwide. The majority of those are mentees or people seeking mentorship, and approximately 700 of those are active airline pilots, corporate pilots, business aviation pilots, you name it. We've got it all. And so, our main focus is just providing people who need assistance, whatever stage of their career it is. We give them the tools to succeed. So, generally speaking, you can find us on our website, www.theppot.org. If you're interested in receiving mentorship, you can apply as an interested mentee or an interested pilot. At that point, you'll fill out a quick form, and then a member of our interested pilot team will get in contact with you, get a quick call going just to kind of see what your goals and aspirations are over the phone. And then we get you paired up with a mentor. And from that point on, you have a direct point of contact, hopefully in the area of aviation that you're, hoping to get to. And they're your resource completely for free. We will never charge. We have never charged and will never charge for our services. We're really, really focused on giving back. And that's one of the things that I've been most proud of about our organization. It's funny. I mean, it's not the first time that I've heard that people haven't heard of us. We operate on an extremely tight budget. None of our members are paid in any way. So it's entirely volunteer based. And so, we just haven't had the opportunity to spend money on advertising, et cetera. But especially over the first 5 or so years of the organization's existence, we were primarily focused on organic growth and finding people that really wanted to be here. And as we approach our 10th year of operation, I think that still stands true.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of questions do new pilots ask their mentors? Like, how does it change the trajectory of their careers? What's happening from the time they reach out to hopefully when you kind of hand them off to a legit program here that's going to take them through their commercial and beyond?
Well, and to backtrack a little bit more of Ian's question, whether or not we're reaching out to high school students as well. I mean, our net is as wide as possible. We, in fact, actually do get members that are that have never even stepped foot inside an airplane, all the way up to people who are, trying to land their dream gig and they already have the experience and qualifications necessary. So the questions that our mentors receive is a very wide range. Sometimes as simple as, "Hey, what can I do now in high school to prepare myself for a successful career in aviation," all the way to, "Hey, I'm looking to join XYZ airline for the first time. Can you give me some tips on interview preparation? Maybe look over my resume and hey, what's a CBA and what's a trip rig and duty rig? All these specific industry terms that maybe people have never heard of before, and it's really good to get that information before jumping into a commitment.
So obviously there's a big pilot shortage out there. I assume this is what your goal here is to both help people and address that issue right now. Do you feel you're making a dent?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've been with this organization a long time, and I've seen, even in my own career, the benefits that an organization like this can have. I think, a lot of our work is thankless work, especially as volunteer work, as anyone who's participated in that line can attest to. But we recently actually just sent out an email requesting some feedback from some of our mentees, and we were overwhelmed with the responses that we received. People, whether it was people changing careers or if it was someone like myself that thought that they wanted to do this for a long time. It's just great to see that people have had a positive experience with our organization, and entirely, I mean, all the work that goes on behind the scenes from a leadership level is great. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the one-on-one mentorship that is key. And our mentors, our volunteers, from the ground up are our greatest asset. And I think we still have a lot of work to do, a lot of opportunity ahead, but I'm excited to keep doing it.
Cool. And I can obviously understand why, from an unintended kind of mentor with your high school math teacher, right? Kind of giving you that first bite of the bug of aviation. That's really incredible. And you never know when you're gonna find that. It might even be at a Mets game. You
I'm
just
already inspired, Ian.
yeah.
Indeed,
I mean,
all Joseph does is remind me how I screwed up and didn't become a professional pilot. Just a private pilot was the baby step, and I kind of was aborted mid-mission over there. But I vicariously lived through Joseph and everyone else that we speak to on this show.
but yeah, same. I'm in the same boat. I never even got my privates, so you're a step above me, but I am definitely living vicariously through all the pilots and aviation enthusiasts that I meet through this and everything else that we do. So appreciate what you do to give back and get more people involved and get them to that first, second, last step, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Along those lines, I do want to talk about the Captain Jason Dahl scholarship. So what's the origin of that fund, that scholarship, and its namesake? Who is Captain Jason Dahl?
Thank you so much. The Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund was created pretty much immediately after the tragic events of 9/11 in an effort to remember Captain Dahl for who he was. And that was an exemplary person, a check airman at United Airlines, a professional pilot, and ultimately a great person. He was the captain of United 93 that was brought down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And, this was something that I learned about when I was finishing up my college degree in 2014. I saw a flyer for the scholarship hanging out in the window in my aviation program, and I said, "Wow, that seems like a great organization to try to get involved with." So, not to mention some scholarship funds for a struggling pilot. So, I decided to apply via an essay online, and a few months later, I received a call from Captain David Dosh, who is now a retired United captain himself, who was best friends with Captain Dahl, telling me that I won one of the scholarships, and I was just absolutely ecstatic. I was actually down in Jacksonville with my now wife Angelica at a Cracker Barrel taking the call, and I just couldn't believe what I was hearing on the phone. And so that really started that journey for me. They flew me out to Denver, Colorado later that year, and I had an opportunity to meet members of the board there. And I immediately felt that although the scholarship money was great, the real benefit was meeting these folks who obviously decided to turn a tragic event into something that is going to better aviation for the long term. And now, 11 years later, I've had the privilege of being on the board of that scholarship, reviewing several hundred applications each year from students all across the country, in a similar position that I was in myself. And just recently, last year, I took over the role of president with that organization as well. So our main goal with the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund is to honor Captain Dahl for the person that he was, and to keep our sights on, just giving back to the aviation community, specifically those students who are pursuing a 4-year collegiate aviation degree program in the United States.
That's really amazing, Joseph. I'm really impressed that not only did you put yourself in a position to win that scholarship, but then to all these years later to give back and lead the organization. It's just really incredible. You're truly leading by example. Just out of curiosity, what parameters are you looking for when you're ready to give your next scholarship? Do you give out a one per year, or what kind of parameters are you looking for in a student that's basically a potential candidate to win one?
So over the past several years, the Captain Jason Bell Scholarship Fund has awarded approximately $40,000 each year in scholarships to various individuals. Last year, I believe we had 14 winners from various schools. And so the main requirements for applying to the scholarship is you must be attending a 4-year collegiate aviation program from an accredited university in the United States. And you have to have completed at least one semester with that program. So that's a relatively wide net in terms of universities across the states. This year, we decided to try to expand our reach a bit and try to advertise the scholarship a little bit more. For record keeping, we were receiving anywhere from 100 to 250 applications each year prior to this year. And this year alone, we received over 750 applications, which is just a testament to the need for this sort of program in the US. We're currently actually in the final stages of review for the 2025 scholarship award process. And the amount of money and the number of awards that we give out vary each year. We're doing our best to try to obviously, increase that amount each and every year. And as another entirely volunteer-based organization, we do run into some limits in terms of what we can do. The fund was started by friends and colleagues and even some family members of Captain Dahl after 9/11. And since we're approaching the 25-year anniversary of 9/11, a lot of those folks have since retired from United specifically, or from the airline industry specifically. And I believe it's particularly important for us to instill in the next generation of supporters of aviators and to help them remember and never forget what happened almost 25 years ago. So we're excited to continue to give back. And in terms of, our scholarship window for the 2025 season has been closed for a few months now as we review this year's applicants, but looking forward to 2026. Generally speaking, that window is open from January to about April. So you can read more about that scholarship fund at www.dahlfund.org, as well as the organization's Instagram at Dahlfund Official for the most up to date information and updates with that scholarship.
And
Excellent.
that's Dahl, Dahl. We will include a link in the show notes
Yeah.
below.
Let me ask real quick. So you talked about how people can get a scholarship. How can others help support the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund? Like, if there's a company listening to this, or someone out there that maybe could make a donation, do you guys accept that? Is it all fully funded through United or something else? Where can we help if there is any, and where is it coming from currently? What are the dollars and cents of this?
Yeah, thank you, Ian. So, great question. So, we are primarily funded by supporters, whether that's a local pilot or just somebody who wants to give back to the organization. Our donations that are received basically on a monthly basis have a wide range of connections. At the moment, I would say primarily they are from active United Airlines employees. We are a participant in their employee giving program, essentially, where employees can sign up to have their payroll deducted. And over the years, we decided to really target the Just a Buck campaign. You can read about that at the Just a Buck. I believe it's justabuck.org. I'll double check on that exact link for you. But we're really only asking for really just $1 per month from anyone who can support the fund, and our strength is in numbers. We know that so many people were affected by 9/11, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to turn that tragic event into something great. In terms of companies and organizations that would like to support us, we are 100% open to donations and would love your support. Each and every dollar that we receive goes directly into future scholarship funds. Again, just like the Professional Pilots of Tomorrow organization, we do not have anyone on the active payroll. Our board of directors consists of 14 members that are giving their time and energy to support the future of aviation.
So, Joseph, if you could give just one piece of advice to someone who's starting their aviation journey, what would it be?
That's a great question, Rob. And I think back on my own experience as somebody who never thought that I would be able to do it myself for various reasons. I would say just be patient. It's something that I've struggled with in my life as a go-getter type person. I always, if I set my mind on something, I want it to happen tomorrow. And aviation is a humbling industry. Even when you think you're doing all the right things and everything is going your way, you're going to have to deal with curveballs from left and right field and no pun intended, right? And and
I
and
see
and,
where you're
and just
going there with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But really just to keep the end goal in sight. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So, even if the industry slows down at some point, you just keep doing the things that will help your career along. Stay out of trouble when you can, and try to make connections with folks. You never know, who the person you're talking to is going to show up again in your career. When I first showed up at Jacksonville University, I had a check airman who was giving me my first stage check as a private pilot, and I was nervous, I was scared. And I just wanted to do a good job, and it turned out to be a great check ride. But later on, throughout the years, we became friends. His name is Rob Duggar. He's a fellow colleague of mine over at my airline, and it's just great to see that we can be together in a sense of respect and acknowledgement of our respective careers. So just keep your
Awesome.
sights on the end goal and keep working hard.
Fantastic.
I've got a couple questions for you. Some softball stuff here. We're gonna divert from talking about the Mets and giving you the hard stuff here. But
He's a
um
Cubs fan, so I know this is a sore
no,
subject.
no, White Sox.
That's a
White
good
Sorry
Sox.
about
season
that. Other
this
side of the
year.
tracks, right?
Oh,
Yeah, no. I will cheer for whichever Chicago team is doing better than the other, but my blood is Chicago White Sox South Side all day long. So I'm glad you're not a Yankees fan because then automatically I wouldn't be able to do this interview. But yeah, no.
Yankees hats aren't allowed in my house except for that one on the corner there. My dad grew up a Yankees fan, so.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, good. Happy to know about that. On a semi-personal note, as far as kind of thinking about inspiring the next generation and what got you going, right? We know a lot about all of what you're doing now, but what did you want to do initially? And if you could pick any job in aviation as a pilot, what would kind of your dream job now be, other than what
Yeah,
you already
so
do?
yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I was really focused on a professional music career. I had the opportunity to study with a member of the New York Philharmonic over here in New York when I was approximately 11 years old. And I studied with him. His name is Barry Lear. He's now retired, but he was just a great mentor and now friend in the music industry, in the classical music industry. And that's something that I was really dead set on. I wanted to be a violinist in a national orchestra. And that is something that, I still would love to do if I had the time to do it. My plate's a little bit full right now, and I'm nowhere near as good as I once was. And I think that ship has sailed. But it was something that I really thought I was going to do. And actually, after after years and years of playing around on Microsoft Flight Simulator from as young as I can remember, that was my only intro to the aviation world, other than my dad taking me to JFK to watch departures and arrivals at a nearby parking lot. So I just really didn't have anyone that I could ask questions and talk to. Of course, Professional Pilots of Tomorrow wasn't around back then, and so that's another reason why I'm so passionate about giving back, is to give people an opportunity and a window to talk and ask questions. And hey, what's the job really like? What's the trips like? What do you do? I mean, everyone knows that a pilot flies planes, but outside of that, I have a lot of friends and family that I'm their only avenue to getting some of the harder questions asked. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I was focused on doing, and I pivoted to aviation somewhat late in my high school career. In terms of what I wanted to do in the aviation career, I'm doing it right now, and I'm really lucky to be able to say that I'm flying for the airline that I've always wanted to fly for, New York's hometown airline, and I'm really proud of that. So yeah, in terms of another gig in aviation. I don't know, if I had an unlimited budget, maybe I'd start an airline, but that's the barriers to entry are pretty solid these days, and I just don't see that happening anytime soon. But in the meantime, I'm gonna keep enjoying flying people over to Europe as much as I can.
There you go. Thank you. That was good. Appreciate it.
So, Joseph, as you know, this is a business aviation podcast. You are a commercial pilot. Is this incongruous? Does one have to make a choice at a certain point in their career, an early point in their career, or are your doors open to all?
Absolutely not. In fact, one of the greatest things about what we're doing in both organizations is we are supporting professional pilots, whether or not that's an airline career, a business aviation career, a corporate career, or even something cool like flying seaplanes down in the Caribbean or something like that. Our net is very large. In my career, I've had the pleasure of flying in various types of operations, including the corporate side as well, flying the Pilatus around before I was at the airline. So, the only time you really need to make a decision is when you're applying for that job, no matter what it is. I fly with other airline pilots all the time that were career corporate pilots and decided to go the other way. It's not necessarily one way or another your entire career. The only thing I will say is that the airline career specifically is seniority based. So, generally speaking, the sooner you get on with any airline that you're intending to spend your career at, the better off you'll be in the long run. It's not necessarily the same with business aviation. Generally speaking, the gigs that are available are a little bit more tailored towards your experience and your qualifications, and your quality of life won't necessarily be as affected by how long you've been at your position. So, but yeah, we're supporting anyone and everyone who wants to get in a flight deck professionally, and we're here to do that.
That's truly sage advice. Joseph, really want to thank you so much for being on the show. It was just serendipity that I ran into you at the Mets game. Now, I believe you told me that you do not have a social media presence, correct? How can people find you
Yeah, that's
besides
correct. Yeah,
besides left field of City Field?
that's correct. Yeah, I made the decision to get off social media for the most part, almost entirely a few years ago, and it's been honestly a great boost to my mental health. So, yeah,
Can't blame you.
I've got enough on my plate with what I'm involved in right now. But you can always shoot me an email at joseph.schmidt at thepPOT.org, or joseph.schmidt at dahlfund.org, and I would be more than happy to reply to you with any questions you might have regarding either organization, or if you just want to ask me a question about aviation, I'm more than happy to do that. In fact, I've had my run-ins over the years. Just last year, I was flying a flight back from Paris to New York Kennedy, and I needed to walk up the jet bridge and talk to the gate agent for some reason, and one of my passengers stopped me in the jetway and said, "Hey, sorry to bother you. I'm a aspiring, commercial pilot. Could you talk to me for a second?" I said, "Yeah, let me just take care of this one thing and I'll be right back." So I came back down and I took him out of line. We cut the line and I brought him into the flight deck and introduced him to the rest of the crew. And as somebody who had never even been in a 121 flight deck before, he was just bright eyed and really excited. And since then, we've been able to connect. He's now one of my mentees over at PPOT, and he just finished up his private pilot check ride a few months ago and is working on his instrument training. So I really value organic experiences. I'm not kidding. If you want to reach out to me, I promise I'll respond to you as soon as I can. But that's where you'll find me, and hopefully, as the postseason comes up this September, October, we'll be at Citi Field.
All right. Really incredible stuff, Joseph. So that's it for this episode of the Cross Check. A huge thank you to Joseph Tar Schmidt, not just for flying the line, but for stepping up and helping the next generation do the same. If you want to learn more about the professional pilots of tomorrow or the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund, check out the links in the show notes below. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave a review, follow us on the podcast platform of your choice, and share it with someone who's dreaming of flight. We will see you all next week on a new episode of The Crosscheck.